welcome to Prime Property, your weekly real estate reckoner. I'm Tara Rai, and this is what we have on the show today. Despair for 100 people living in Mumbai's Campa society as the Supreme Court offers no relief and asks residents to vacate by 31st of May. But hope for 600 plus buyers of an under-construction project of Supertech in Noida as the Apex Court grants an interim stay on demolition. Senior Counsel Mukul Rohatgi, who's representing residents of the Campa society and the builder Supertech, speaks exclusively to Prime Property. We get 99acres.com to answer viewer queries on Property Doctor. Two tales of two towers in two cities. Consumers holding the short end of the stick as courts come down heavily on the builder-Babu nexus. The Supreme Court on the 5th of May refused to give relief to nearly 100 residents of the Campa society in Mumbai and refused to modify its earlier order of eviction. The Supreme Court reiterated these 100 residents would have to be evicted by the 31st of May. But on the very same day, the Supreme Court did provide interim relief to 600 plus jittery buyers of a Supertech project in Noida. It stayed the Allahabad High Court order that had directed demolition of these two under-construction towers. My colleague Manasvi Ghilani revisits the crisis at the Campa society.
Supreme Court on Monday rejected the extension plea of the residents of the Campa society in Mumbai and directed them to vacate it by May 31st. It all started in February last year when about hundreds of residents living in this building got notices from the legal department stating that the construction of the building was illegal and that they had to vacate their premises. That's when the residents moved court. They also, got in touch with the BMC officials and the local authorities and local politicians. But their requests for help only fell on deaf ears. That's when the BMC officials in November last year came along with their bulldozers to run over the building. But the Supreme Court then intervened and put a stay order of until 31st May 2014. But the residents' plea to extend the stay order has completely been overruled by the Supreme Court. This housing complex in Mumbai's upmarket Worli area houses 7 high-rise apartment towers built in the 1990s. The authorities notified to demolish 2 towers, Midtown that has 20 floors and Orchard that has 17 floors. The notice came after the builders illegally built about the permitted 5 floors and the occupants knowingly bought these flats at cheap rates. Their long and difficult fight won wide political support despite the opposition Shiv Sena heading the civic body and the ruling Congress treading with caution over court orders. While politicians tried to gain mileage, not everybody though was convinced that residents were unaware of the illegality, and residents maintained that they were unaware that they were getting duped by the builder.
They had the lease, they had the conveyance rights, they were given the development rights, so there was no reason why we would have thought otherwise. There was no Right to Information Act at that time. So there were 7 buildings that were being built one after the other. So a person who's moved into the building number 1 never knows that the builder is going to commit any kind of violation. And there was no Right to Information Act. So I'm trying to ask, if the BMC claims that 2 20-story structures were built and the foundation was dug, the BMC should have been here stopping that work.
According to the residents, the sanctioned FSI is 1,87,000 square feet, while the constructed FSI is 2,11,000 square feet. With the excess FSI used 24,000 square feet that should be demolished and not the 90,000 square feet as claimed by the BMC officials.
We also know there is an FSI violation, so we are ready to demolish those flats which have exceeded the FSI. So after this, the government is not ready to look at us at all. And please remember that when we get demolished, the FSI which is available on the plot automatically gets transferred to the developer, and he will build the similar structure, a similar building, and sell it for profit.
The irate residents also lamented over civic bodies' apathy towards their plight.
It's been about 5 months since the court has been asking the BMC and the residents to sit together and find a solution, an amicable solution, and the court is open to accepting it. But the BMC, all these months, they have been sitting with us and they've been actually asking for different kind of papers at every hearing and asking for time. Suddenly today, when the court actually asked the BMC, the judge asked the BMC that whether they were interested in finding a solution for the members, the BMC's counsel turned around and said that they were not interested.
This also comes in at a time when the Supreme Court goes on vacation, leaving no window for the residents to chalk out Plan B. And now, there is an attempt to make it a political issue.
This is what the Congress-led government has led us to. They promised us that they're going to help us, and at the nth hour, they have put their hands up. So I'm left with very few options since the court is being shut, but I still hope.
Residents allege that there is a nexus between builder and the authorities, but the fading hope leaves them with very little choice or no choice at all. But the rage residents of Campa are certain that they will not vacate their premise, even if it meant letting bulldozers run over them. Now that could be contempt of Supreme Court orders, which was sympathetic to them last time and gave them an extension. In Mumbai, Manasvi Gilani.
Now let's tell you about the Supertech crisis. More than 600 buyers were left in a lurch when their builder, Supertech, a well-known name in Noida in the National Capital Region, was ordered by the Allahabad High Court to demolish these two under-construction towers. Sending shockwaves with its strongly worded judgment, the High Court declared the construction of these two towers illegal and also directed Supertech to refund customers at 14% compound interest. The Supreme Court has stayed this verdict and banned Supertech from creating new third-party rights. These two towers that are now sealed are part of a larger Supertech residential complex, Emerald Court. Spread across 14 acres, the Emerald Court houses 15 other towers, fully built with residents living here. It was the Resident Welfare Association of these 15 towers that had dragged Supertech to the Allahabad High Court over the new towers coming up, claiming they were in complete violation of the Uttar Pradesh Apartment Act. The petitioner claimed the Noida authority had given permission to raise the height of the two towers from 11 stories to 24 to finally 40 stories, without maintaining the mandatory distance of 16 meters from an adjoining building block, making it unsafe apart from blocking air and light. It also alleged the area earmarked for a children's park and open green space had been compromised. The Allahabad High Court took strong objection and in its judgment wrote, and I quote, "The time has come when everyone should realize that rule of law is not a purchasable commodity and illegalities will not be tolerated merely because the builder has taken protection against the sanction which admittedly is illegal and in violation of building regulations," unquote. Senior counsel Mukul Rohatgi is representing both Supertech the builder and the Campa residents. In an exclusive interview to Prime Property, Mukul Rohatgi says the Campa residents' unfortunate plight is being sealed by an indifferent municipal corporation.
The court itself thought that if demolition can be avoided, then it must be avoided. So the court agreed to hear an application first time, second time, it extended time to vacate. It asked the Attorney General and the Municipal Corporation of Greater Bombay to look into it and see if solution can be found. According to us, there is a solution, etc., etc. Unfortunately, the corporation had a very dogged attitude. The Attorney General has not been available for the last 2 months because he's been unwell. There has been the election fever for the last couple of months, and unfortunately the matter didn't move forward. The court gave a long rope, and the Supreme Court said that now nothing much can be done, but I have still kept the matter alive. Our application is now listed sometime in July.
Mr. Rohatgi, the main grievance has been the BMC is not being humane, is not willing to arrive at a solution, and you're going even a step forward to say the Attorney General has not had the time to look into this case. So are there any legal options left before the Campa residents? Courts are also headed for summer vacation.
No, legal options are not over. Legal options are never over. If the government or the state authorities react little more humanely and are willing to listen to our proposals, we can go to the court even in the vacations. If they are not willing to look at it at all and the matter is like a dead letter, then I am afraid the inevitable will happen.
So if the inevitable does take place, will the evicted residents be left with any legal rights? Can they, for example, seek compensation? You know, this is not a case of squatting. All those being evicted say they've paid good money.
No, legal right for what? They can go after the builder if they want to. But God knows what will happen. God knows what will happen. How long will it happen? What premises? You can't get premises. So once they are demolished, they have a right to go for compensation to the builder. They have to file a suit and show that how much they paid and this and that, and those are processes which will take a decade or two. That's not really a very viable solution.
Okay, so these residents that will be evicted do have a legal right perhaps in seeking compensation from the builder, but you don't think that's going to be easy. It may not be a viable option. But Mr. Rohatgi, in one case, you're with the consumers, that is the residents of the Campa society. In the other, you're representing a builder, which is Supertech. The courts clearly trying to make an example. In both the cases, they have shown strong disdain for the alleged builder-babu nexus. How do you react to that?
See, obviously in every building project, ultimately the consumer will suffer. But there are cases and cases. I mean, Supertech is not a case of any nexus at all. And as far as Campa is concerned, it was built some 20 years ago. Now, I must also tell you, you know, people have to buy what is available. People don't know the full details. If things are built, whether in the case of Campa or in other cases, rightly or wrongly, and the corporations allow buildings to come up, they allow water and electricity facilities to be there, they recover house tax, municipal tax. Is it fair then for any part of the state authorities to come and say after 20 years that the building is unauthorized? This is something which I have not been able to understand. For the last 25 years, all this has gone on all across the country. Why is it that only the consumer suffers? Why is it not that the court says that you allowed the building to come up? Then let it be there jolly well and maybe recover some development charges or penal charges. I mean, demolition is also a national waste, isn't it? People are rendered homeless. Cement and steel which has gone into the building is also wasted. I mean, this is really no solution if you ask me.
But Mr. Rohatgi, everyone is wondering how Supertech in the first place managed to get all the legal sanctions to go up from what, 11 stories to 40 stories. The High Court said the builder was hand in glove with the local authorities to get the necessary sanctions. How do you react to these charges?
No, not at all. It is a matter of common knowledge and routine that sanctions are often revised. Now, I will tell you, suppose I am building a house where 2 floors are allowed, and during the time that I am building and halfway through 2 more floors are allowed, then of course I can revise the sanction and get it revised sanction on payment of certain charges and build 4 floors. In the case of Noida, Noida gave more area to the builder after originally giving the original area. So when you get more area, you can build more. Thereafter, Noida itself sells FAR. It itself sells FAR, which is commonly called, you know, the floor, the space which you can build. So if the builder purchases from Noida the right to build more upon payment, gets more land on which additional sanctions are created, then there is nothing wrong in revisions. There can be any number of revisions. So that's what has happened in this case.
In the case of Supertech, the Allahabad High Court also directed customers be refunded at 14% compound interest. What has the Supreme Court said about this, and are buyers demanding this refund?
As far as the buyers of Supertech are concerned, they are all before the Supreme Court hand in hand with the builder. They are not enforcing refund. That itself shows that the builder hasn't cheated them. Otherwise, they have taken a refund at 14%, which, you know, in 6 years or 7 years makes your money double, and they would have walked away. So nobody has come forward to take a refund. So we have not made any prayer to the court in regard to refund. Our immediate prayer was that the order of demolition should not be implemented, and that is what the Supreme Court has stayed. And the Supreme Court has also told us that we will not sell any further till the court hears it, and we are not, we are not interested in selling. So we will stay put till the matter is heard.
Mr. Rohatgi, the public feels courts in both the cases of Supertech and Campa should have also ordered prosecution, if not jail, for officials at the municipal authorities. How do you react to that? Isn't it time this happens if we are to truly break a builder-babu nexus?
You must understand one thing, that our judicial system is so slow that even if you launch a prosecution in regard to some collusion of a babu in a municipal corporation or whatever, I mean, those things take years and years and years. So what kind of example will you set? Take any case, if some problem occurs today, forget these cases, take cases where builders have built substandard buildings and buildings have fallen down. People have lost their lives. Take the Goa case which happened last year. Every year at least 50 buildings fall in Bombay. Some due to dilapidated structures, some otherwise. And I'm sure that builders are prosecuted. But obviously, you know, these prosecutions, as I told you, take 20 years. So it's like a domino effect. If you want to do this, you prosecute. To prosecute, you must set an example. To set an example, you prosecute. But that becomes an endless thing. It takes 20 years. Who cares what happens?
These two cases highlight the need for a real estate regulator, one that oversees builders and the local authorities. Let's hope that's on the priority list of the new government. For now, we're going to slip into a short break. On the other side, we answer viewer queries on Property Doctor this week with 99acres.com. Stay tuned.